All right, everyone, buckle up. We're diving into some pretty choppy economic waters today. Inflation. Yeah, it's still hanging around like a bad cold. And then you've got recession worries swirling around. And honestly, the global scene feels a bit like trying to walk a tightrope in a hurricane,
Right. It's definitely a lot to take in.
especially if you're running a small business,
Hmm.
freelancing, or, building your own empire. It can feel a bit overwhelming, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But hey, look, we're not here for a doom and gloom session, okay?
Yeah.
We're digging into some seriously smart perspectives on not just what's happening, but what it all could mean for your future.
Yeah, think of us as your guides, helping you navigate this economic storm. And who knows, maybe we'll even find a treasure island or two along the way.
I like that. Okay, so to kick things off, let's rewind the clock a bit, way back to 2012. Remember that. The Mayans thought the world was ending, but investor Raoul was looking at a different kind of doomsday scenario, the economy.
Right. Even back then, way before the current banking craziness hit the headlines, he was seeing those warning signs flashing.
And he was so convinced, he actually went and set up a backup plan in the Cayman Islands. You know, just in case.
And you know what's really interesting? Powell wasn't just glued to the 24/7 news cycle. He was thinking way bigger, like decades ahead. He saw this pattern where economic pressure spills over into, well, everything.
Yeah, I mean, we see it now, right?
Oh, absolutely. Rising populism, the divides between people getting deeper, and even the possibility of large, powerful countries breaking apart.
Wait, hold on. Breaking apart, that's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Definitely a game changer. Powell was actually talking to another, I guess you could call him a futurist, who sees this as a kind of historical cycle. We swing from massive centralized power back to smaller, more independent players.
So the question is this a good thing? A bad thing?
Mm,
Or just something we got to deal
yeah,
with?
it's like a coin flip, right? Heads or tails. But here's the thing. For anyone running a business, no matter how big or small, understanding these global shifts is absolutely crucial.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if the whole playing field is changing, you've got to know the new rules of the game, right?
Exactly. Think about your supply chains, where you're selling your products or services, even who you're teaming up with across borders. It's like if the game board is being shaken up, how do you adapt your strategy?
Okay, good point. So let's bring it a little closer to home for a minute. I've been keeping an eye on some reports about the U.S. national debt, and honestly, the numbers are pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it's a bit of a black hole, isn't it?
We're talking $35 trillion. That's more than the entire U.S. economy. And some experts are predicting the yearly deficit could double, interest payments could triple, and even those big safety nets like Medicare and Social Security could be in trouble by the 2030s.
And this isn't just a U.S. problem either. If the U.S. defaults, that would send shockwaves through the entire global economy. We're talking currencies, markets, the whole nine
Yeah,
yards.
no one's immune to that kind of chaos, are they?
Definitely not. And it's not about being all doom and gloom, but understanding just how big this problem could get helps everyone make smarter, more resilient decisions, no matter where they are.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're finding all this as eye-opening as I am, do us a favor and hit that like button and share this deep dive with your friends.
Yeah, spread the knowledge. We're all in this together.
Okay, now let's shift gears a little and talk about something that's been generating a lot of buzz lately. Central bank digital currencies. CBDCs.
Oh, yeah. They've been making headlines.
Raoul, the guy we talked about earlier, has a pretty interesting take on them, one that's kind of stirring the pot.
He does tend to do that, doesn't he?
While a lot of people are freaking out about government overreach, Big Brother watching every penny you spend, Powell actually sees some potential benefits. Like, imagine being able to deliver aid after a natural disaster directly to the people who need it,
Yeah, cutting out all that bureaucracy and red tape.
or sending targeted economic help directly to those who are struggling the most, or even encouraging people to save more.
It's a different way of thinking about it, for sure.
I mean, it's not all sunshine and roses, right? There are definitely some big concerns.
Hmm.
But I think the key takeaway here is that it's not as simple as good versus bad.
It's like a new tool. And like any tool, it depends on who's using it and how they're using it. Right?
Exactly. So understanding how these CBDCs work, what they could be used for, both the good and the bad, is going to be super important in the next few years, no matter what side of the fence you're on.
Totally agree.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here. How do we, as business owners, entrepreneurs, freelancers, how do we actually prepare for a potential recession? All the market craziness that comes with it.
Well, there's a ton of advice out there, some of it pretty basic. Build up that emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses tucked away.
Yeah, classic advice.
Pay down debt, especially the high interest stuff, credit cards, personal loans, anything that's eating away at your cash flow.
Makes sense.
And for investors, diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that's solid advice. But sometimes it feels a bit like, easier said than done, especially when you're running a business and things are unpredictable.
Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing that's always within your control: staying informed. The more you understand about how the economy actually works, what those underlying currents are, the better you'll be able to navigate the rough waters. Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah, knowledge is definitely your best defense. Okay, let's talk about those rough waters for a second. Remember the dot-com bubble? All that hype, everyone throwing money at anything with a dot-com at the end of it?
Oh, yeah, good times.
And then it all came crashing down. Or think about the railway mania back in the 1850s.
That was a wild ride.
These are classic examples of what happens when everyone gets swept up in the excitement and forgets about the fundamentals.
It's like that shiny object syndrome. Everyone's chasing the next big thing, but they forget to look at what's actually valuable.
And I'm seeing some parallels with what's happening with AI right now. All this hype, all these predictions about how it's going to change everything.
Which it probably will eventually.
Right, but just like with those past hot markets, blindly following trends can lead to some serious disappointment.
It's about being smart, separating the hype from the real deal. Focus on those solid business principles, not just the flavor of the month.
I was just reading an article about how even during the dot-com boom, when the internet really was changing everything, investors who bought into the hype ended up facing years of ups and downs for very little return.
Ouch.
It's a good reminder that sometimes even the most groundbreaking technologies don't automatically translate to quick profits. Patience and a level head are key.
Absolutely. It's about building something sustainable, whether you're a one-person show or part of a big team. A solid foundation is more important than chasing the latest fad.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so let's get tactical. We've been talking big picture, all those trends and whatnot, but how do we actually put all this knowledge to work? Let's build a toolkit for thriving in this kind of economy.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
What's the first tool we're grabbing?
Well, it might sound kind of basic, but honestly, it's the foundation, that emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of essential expenses tucked away, your safety net.
Right. I mean, having that cushion can make a huge difference for me, especially when things feel so unpredictable.
Exactly. Takes some of the pressure off, lets you breathe a little. And speaking of things that can feel out of control, let's talk about debt. That high interest debt, it's like a hole in your pocket, especially with those interest rates going up.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Credit cards, personal loans, anything that's just draining your cash flow. That's where you got to focus your energy, get that paid down.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if your income isn't, steady, like a lot of freelancers and small business owners deal with? How do you even start building that emergency fund when you're not sure what's coming in each month?
That's where you got to get really good at budgeting. Track your spending, like down to the penny. Figure out where every dollar is going. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about being smart.
Finding those leaks.
Exactly. Maybe you could renegotiate a bill or find a cheaper place to work or even just swap out some expensive habits for something more affordable.
Every little bit helps, right?
Absolutely. Every dollar you save is a dollar you can use to make yourself more resilient.
Resilient. Yeah, that's the goal, isn't it?
Totally. It's not just about surviving the storm. It's about coming out the other side even stronger. And, recessions, they can actually be a breeding ground for innovation.
Really? How so?
Well, when times are tough, people get creative, right? They come up with new solutions to new problems. Keep your eyes open. Look around. What are people struggling with? What needs aren't being met? That's where the opportunities are.
Yeah, I'm already starting to see things a little differently. It's not just about hunkering down and waiting for the storm to pass.
No, it's about looking for those gaps, those unmet needs, and figuring out how you can create value. Okay, now let's talk about something that tends to make people a little nervous: investing. When the market is all over the place, it's tempting to just pull back, hide your money under the mattress.
Yeah, play it safe.
But for those who are thinking long-term, those downturns can actually be a great time to buy.
Wait, hold on. If the market is tanking, why would I want to buy anything? That seems kind of counterintuitive.
Remember that Gartner hype cycle we talked about? The one with the peak of inflated expectations and the trough of disillusionment? That same idea applies to the market as a whole. When fear takes over, prices drop, sometimes a lot. And for investors who are in it for the long haul, those dips can be amazing opportunities.
Like a stock market sale.
Exactly. But I know the investing world can feel intimidating, all those numbers and charts and jargon.
Definitely not my comfort zone.
But it doesn't have to be complicated. Start with the basics. Look for companies with a good track record, businesses that offer essential goods or services. Think about it like this. If the stock market didn't exist, would you still buy this company? If the answer is yes, you're probably on the right track.
Okay, that makes sense. If you're finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. The more, the merrier. All right, so we've got our emergency fund, we're tackling debt, we're scouting for opportunities, maybe even dipping our toes into the investment pool. What else should we be adding to our economic toolkit?
One of the most powerful tools you have is, well, your knowledge and your skills. The world is changing so fast, the more adaptable you are, the better you'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. Maybe it's time to learn something new, take a course, or just immerse yourself in what's happening in your industry.
Invest in yourself. It pays the best dividends.
I love that. It's not just about money, it's about personal and professional growth. And let's not forget about community. When things are uncertain, having a network of support, people who understand your struggles and celebrate your wins, that can make all the difference.
Absolutely. It's like surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you.
Exactly. Whether it's your family and friends, your colleagues, or even online communities, find those connections that help you grow. And remember, giving back is a powerful antidote to uncertainty. Helping others, contributing to something bigger than yourself, it brings purpose and meaning even when times are tough.
I really like that perspective. It's about remembering that we're all in this together. And even small acts of kindness can make a difference. Okay, before we move on to our final thoughts, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. They've been generating a lot of buzz, and Raoul has a take on them that's kind of unexpected.
Yeah, he sees them as more than just a tool for government control. He thinks they have the potential to really transform our economic systems in a good way.
Okay, now that's interesting. So it's not just about Big Brother watching everything you do.
Not necessarily. Imagine a world where governments could send aid or stimulus directly to the people who need it most. No more bureaucracy, no more wasted time and money.
Wow, that would be amazing. So it's about efficiency and maybe even more fairness?
Exactly. Pal even thinks CBDCs could allow people to earn interest directly from central banks, cutting out those middlemen and making financial services more accessible to everyone.
Now, that would be a game changer. But are governments even ready for that kind of shift? And are we, the people, ready to trust them with that much power?
Those are the million-dollar questions. Powell knows there are risks, and he stresses the importance of having safeguards in place to prevent abuse. But he also believes that open and honest conversations about both the pros and cons of CBDCs are essential.
It definitely sounds like a topic that deserves a much deeper dive all on its own. But for now, let's move on to our final thoughts for this episode. We've covered a lot, from those big global trends to practical tips to some pretty mind-blowing ideas about the future of money.
And I hope you're walking away feeling more informed and empowered. The key takeaway here is that economic uncertainty is a fact of life. It's part of the cycle. But we don't have to let it paralyze us.
Welcome back for the final part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From global trends to practical tips, even those mind-bending possibilities for the future of money.
It's been a whirlwind.
Now it's time to kind of bring it all together, leave you with some key takeaways and a final thought to ponder. Throughout this deep dive, we've really emphasized that economic uncertainty, yeah, it's unsettling, but it's also kind of a constant, right? It's part of the cycle.
It's like the season's changing. You know it's coming.
Exactly. But it doesn't have to paralyze us. Instead of letting fear take over, we can choose to approach uncertainty with curiosity, resilience, and a willingness to adapt.
Equip ourselves with knowledge, build those strong financial foundations, and keep an eye out for opportunities.
And one of the most powerful insights we've heard from these experts is that economic hardship often forces innovation and adaptation.
It's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
When resources are scarce, people get creative. New problems pop up, new solutions are needed. And that's where entrepreneurs, freelancers, even corporate teams, they can really thrive.
So that brings us to a final thought-provoking question. If economic hardship often leads to innovation and adaptation, what new business models or solutions might emerge from the challenges we're facing today?
Ooh, I like that question. It's like a challenge to all the creative thinkers out there.
Exactly. What gaps need filling? What problems need solving? What can we create that will not only help us navigate these uncertain times, but also make the world a better place?
That's a powerful thought. And remember, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. We've talked about the power of community, the importance of collaboration and support. Reach out to your network, connect with people who share your vision, and brainstorm together.
Absolutely. Share those ideas, bounce them off each other. Who knows? The next big breakthrough could come from a conversation over coffee.
The possibilities are endless. Well, this deep dive has been all about giving you the knowledge and insights you need to not just survive, but thrive, no matter what the future holds. Keep learning, keep exploring, keep asking questions. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be.
And remember, we're all in this together.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. And don't forget, if you found this deep dive valuable, hit that like button and share it with your network. Let's spread the knowledge and empower each other to navigate these uncertain times together.